Hi everyone and welcome to episode 36 of my making podcast. My name is Marlene. Marlene, it's on Instagram and here on YouTube. And if you're new here, I'm a knitter, a spinner and a sewist from Germany. I work at my local yarn shop and I have this YouTube knitting podcast. It started out as, and now I do also share quite a bit about my spinning and sewing, but knitting is always first. So if you're just here for the knitting, you can just watch that part and then skip the rest, or you might be interested in the other things as well. Today I've got a jam-packed episode. I will firstly be showing you my one and only finished object for this week. And then I'll be showing you my yarnjam podcaster collection fiber colorway. I'm going to reveal it today. Then I am going to share a bit about some acquisitions that I have brought into my collection this last couple of weeks, and then share a bit about the wollfestival in Kassel. In between, I'm also going to talk about my current whips, and I think that should be about it. Maybe 2 books I've recently finished and that I liked, but let's start with I feel like I'm very sloped down. Let me just sit up and talk a bit about my current outfit, what I'm wearing. This is my only finished sewing object from the last, I think, 1 or 2 months. I haven't been sewing a ton, but I have some plans. So that'll be a bit later in the episode. This is another Ruby vest by Sydney Graham. Hi Sid Graham, I think, on Instagram. I really love the look of all her patterns, but this one is the one that I have made twice now. My first one I actually quilted myself and did a woolen Merchant Mills fiber on one side and then a cotton pigeon and wishes gingham fabric on the other side. So it was still reversible, and I did the ties in one of those fabrics. This one though, I have actually used a pre-quilted fabric. This one I got from mylittlefabricshop, I think it's called. I'm gonna link it in the description box. I got a few fabrics from them just a couple of weeks ago, and this one I wanted to make into another ruby vest. I thought that would be a bit of a lazy but also totally fine way of making a quilted vest is using an already quilted fabric. Then I also used for the first time a bias binding that was pre-made as well. So this one is from, what's it called again? I went to the shop when I was in Berlin. It's called, now the word is not coming to me, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to link it. I'm going to write it on the screen because eventually while editing I will remember. So this was from a store, and yeah, I finished it. I'm gonna take it off now and show you the inside. I didn't actually wear it for a couple of, I think it was laying around almost finished for quite some time because I wasn't sure about buttons. I actually had purchased some press-on buttons, I think they are called. You usually use like a hammer to put them on. They're from Prim. And they are in a beautiful kind of like used look, kind of metal, like a mudded gold color, which I really liked. But then I wasn't sure which side I wanted to be the prominent side. I think you can still see where I had marked them to be. But for now, I have decided to leave them off. I can still use the buttons for further like future projects. But since I like both sides, I thought it'd be quite a shame to kind of decide which side is going to be the forever kind of outside, since like I said, it is reversible, and I quite like both sides. So you can tell me maybe in the comments if you want to which side you prefer and if you would eventually add on the buttons. I think I've decided to kind of wear the striped side today. But yeah, it's actually even too warm for this. It's like 28 degrees outside, but I have cooled down the flat quite a bit, so that's all right. I have a bit of a scratchy throat today. I have had some problems with like headaches with a very humid and hot and like very pretty quickly changing weather recently. And then Hannes got really sick, like just a cold, but like a bad cold. And now my throat is scratchy, and like I really hope it's not getting me now. Yeah, not really much else to say about this. I'm not wearing anything knitted today, which has been the case some days since I've started to also sew, which is quite fun, I think. But yeah, I think that is my cue to move on into my finished object, which is rolled together like a little croissant. This is my vice versa shawl by Bridget Zhu of BZB Knits. This is a 2-color brioche shawl. I've been talking a bit about it in my latest episodes. It's quite long, so this is just half of it. And then it is called vice versa because it is kind of swapped on the middle spine. I think the spine is always in the middle, but you know what I'm trying to get at is you cast on these stitches for the spine, and then you pick up stitches to knit one side, and then you knit the other side once that is finished. So it is quite a long shawl. I'm going to put it on how I'm actually thinking of possibly wearing it, but then I'm going to quickly take it off again because it's going to be very warm. This is, for example, could be one way of wearing it. I mean, with the hair out or even tucked in and like a little hat and my winter coat. I'm going to take it off again because, like I said, too warm. This is made in the Terra color, like the brownish orange is called Terra, and this is the rosy green wool Cheeky Merino in Terra, and then the blue kind of hand spun looking yarn, blue and pink it is, and then sometimes blue and orange. This one is called light worsted and sycamore, and the brand is Earth Yarns. We sell both of these yarns at the shop, which is why I did not pay for this yarn myself. I got it from the shop that I work at to knit up a sample with. So that's how, if we want to knit something for the shop, we can get the yarn charge free kind of, and then the sample lives at the shop for about a half a year before it'll be mine again and I can wear it. I have a few of my items that I'm not wearing at the shop too, so yeah, it's very, how would you say that, like it's very relaxed. But I oftentimes, if it's something that I'm like, I really want to show off the yarn when people come around to the shop to see what they could make with it, I think that's a great option. And with this, I was test knitting as well for my friend Bridget, and so I thought that was a great win-win situation, making a sample for Strickverliebt and then also testing for a friend. And for me, it was a win as well, since I was able to learn some new techniques. I already talked quite a bit about my learning curve on this one in the latest episode that I uploaded, which was just related to not ever having knit 2-color brioche in a bigger project before. So yeah, that was just quite a nice learning curve, and I'm happy that Bridget helped me so much with all my questions. The pattern, like from my point of view, I don't know if anyone else found anything, but it was perfect to begin with. Like there weren't any mistakes in it. Still, I was able to give a bit of feedback. Like she had a tutorial video, which she's going to put some, I think, chapter marks in, so you can find some specific techniques a bit easier even, and those helped me out so much. So let's get into the yarn amounts that I used. Before the test started, we're told that for the small size, and this is the small size, the bigger one isn't particularly longer. I mean, it is a bit longer, but that one is a bit deeper, like the spine is longer, so it's broader. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, but I made size 1 and I used 66 grams of the main color, which was this cheeky merino. Both are sport weight yarns. And I used 84 grams of the Color Bee, which was the kind of like hand spun looking yarn. This turned out a tiny bit longer than the pattern stated, which I attribute to the yarn just being an extra fine merino, and just with blocking and it hanging out like it's so long, it just stretched about 10 centimeters longer. Which, yeah, it's just a super cozy and long shawl, which is nice. And then, yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a sample for the shop, and I enjoyed making it. Like with anything where you're decreasing stitches, it feels like it's getting faster the further you move on kind of with the project. So the ends always seem to go by really fast, which was nice. And yeah, I'm very thankful for all the learnings that I've had with this project. And I would like to, in the beginning I said that I would have really liked to spin my own yarn for that project. That's what Ariel, for example, from Ari Knits did, and hers turned out beautifully. Madison from the Madison Montees knitting podcast here on YouTube, she also uses, I think she's still knitting with it, her hand spun. And then another one of the testers, I think her name's Victoria, she's using not like a colorful like hand dyed, but a very neutral looking hand spun as well, which is also beautiful. So yeah, I loved seeing all the other people's like testers versions. The chat wasn't super chatty, so like, I mean, some chats are, some aren't. I always like a bit of a mix, like a bit of chat and then not for it to get overwhelming. So yeah, I always like to see how other people are like moving along and how the knits are coming along, the color choices and all of that. But yeah, it was a great experience. And that is my one finished object this week. Moving on to my works in progress. I have my first one in my Piata bag that I got it as a birthday present in April. And this is my travel shawl. This is my hand spun traveler shawl that I am spinning for and knitting for the DRK Spin It to Knit It Knit Along this year. And yeah, this is also possibly, it's very scrunched up because the cord is too short. This is possibly also my learning curve hand spun shawl, because the skein I'm currently working into it is so much thinner than the ones I used before. I think before I started out pretty much with like a worsted weight yarn. My first two skeins of this combo spin. This is a combo spin of two hand dyed skeins of a BFL and a Cordell. Mixed up. Those are Fräuwölfchens. There may be Giants and Immortelle. Those were the colorways, and I mixed them. I'm actually showing the process in a episode a bit further back, which is cool. Like you can see how I'm dividing the braids and making some like little nests that I then spun up one after the other. And then I combine it with a Manx Lockton, just a natural non-dyed skein, no, braid. And yeah, this is almost done. Like you can see, it's getting really big. And I think I'm like 2.5 repeats off from the size that I'm supposed to go to, though I only have 2 finished hanks of hand spun yarn left over. So this one is just connected to the littlest nugget, which I don't think I want to play yarn chicken on this project, and I don't want to use the skeins that didn't turn out. I talked about this in my last episode, that I had a bit of a spinning up and plying like in wrong direction problem, like spinning one of my singles in the wrong direction, which then made the yarn into a little boucle, kind of a boucle, more like a art yarn, which wasn't the intended way I wanted it to turn out. But yeah, So I just don't want to have to open them back up and divide them and respin them and then reply them, which I would do if this, like if I'm not able to get this finished, I would do that. But I have thought that I'm just going to finish this last repeat, then leave out the last 2 repeats, which I think should be fine because I'm just picking up into my I-cord to knit the second triangle. And I'm hoping to be okay with 2 braids, like 2 hangs for that. I'm not sure. Like I said, maybe I have to do some hand spun recovery operation at some point. But yeah, I think it's already so big, and with the other triangle added, I don't think I'll need those 2 last repeats. And the rows on this one have been taking so long, as you can imagine. Like this is, I don't know, hundreds of stitches on this one as well at this point. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm cutting it short. I hope this isn't going to be a disaster, but yeah, since I'm going to picking up the stitches myself anyways, I'm just going to pick up a few less stitches and it's just going to be a bit smaller. This is actually the second size, because when I started out, my gauge was a DK 2 worsted. Now I'm more in the like fingering to sport realm. I also plied the heck out of this, so this is a bit overplied, but it is my learning curve for traveler shawl, and I love it, even though it's chaotic. So yeah, I really want to get this first triangle done relatively soon, which isn't a problem. I just worked on it last night during the European Championship soccer football final for a few rows, sorry. And then yeah, I think I should be able to finish the first triangle relatively soon, and then move on to the second one. My next work in progress is has gotten quite a bit of work done on it. It's my coast to coast coffee house sweater, as I like to call it, and also it's technically my second stripe hype sweater by Kika. I finished the whole body, and I sewed in all the ends. This is also how what's this? Oh. This is also how the inside of my first version looks like. I always like to weave the ends in like a zigzag manner, so the yarn, the fabric stays stretchy. Is something I've learned very early on in my knitting journey. So yeah, I finished the whole body. This was what in the 8 house is coffee colorway by the Fantasy Coffee House collection by Coast to Coast Yarn Co. Then I've got Knots, which is the blue one, and then Light Roast, which is the light brown one, which I had already used for a beanie, but that one I did in I think it was actually BFL as well. And this one I'm using now is the Merino Natural, so it's the non-superwash Merino. The main strand I'm using is a Pure Gint colorway. It's like a trench coat kind of thing. And yeah, since I've got all of this finished now, I am going to move on to the sleeves, and I'm going to continue using the same colors. I think I'm just going to do 2 stripes. It's like 6 stripes is what I needed for my other version, and I think it turned out quite nicely. This one is possibly a tiny bit bigger than my other version, and I'm quite happy with the length as well. I think you can slightly tell that my row gauge in my Pure Gint knitting is a bit bigger than the row gauge in the natural DK from Coast to Coast, which is actually an effect I quite like, because it looks like the stripes are a tiny bit different in width, but like consistently different, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I can't wait to wear this. Recently, or right now, it just feels too hot to knit on this. If it's like cold inside in the evenings, it's okay. But if I'm wearing like short jeans right now, and I just don't really like the feeling of the peer gynt like on my naked legs or arms while knitting it. I like to wear like a t-shirt or long sleeve under my peer gynt sweater that I already knit. I don't mind it, like it's not too itchy, especially after washing it. It turned out really nicely. So yeah, I just wanted it to be a lot less pilly than my first version, because that's knit up in superwash merino and that pills quite badly. And yeah, this is just such a mindless knit. Like I don't even have to look at the pattern most of the time. I know it's super basic, like it doesn't have any shaping, but I really like sometimes like a just oversized, just tiny bit striped, just beautiful fall colors. Like I'm gonna wear that so much, I think. So yeah, I think that's all about this sweater so far. Gonna knit the sleeves, but I'm not super like urgently wanting to finish it super soon. Like I've got two other whips that are more important to me to finish now, and I've got a few more, not too many, but a few more summer plans that I want to cast on before I'm completely going to fall into the fall vibes. Like I'm already planning my autumn knitting plans video. I know I didn't do any for like, I don't think I did one for spring, but I definitely didn't do one for summer. I've been so focused on test knitting and just knitting whatever I felt like doing the spinning as well for my shawl. I didn't really have any plans. And then most of these plans I've had in my Make 9. I'm gonna cast on the what's that called? Everybody's making it right now. It is a popular pattern, but mini mock neck. I'm gonna make that next, and then I think the plain yoke tee is also still on my list. And then I just want to knit all the cardigans. Like I've swatched for the tessellated and the book club cardigan. I can't wait to start either of those or both. So yeah, but that's another tangent. I'm gonna show you my last work in progress that I've been actively working on this last week. If I'm not showing a project, that doesn't mean that I've frogged it or anything. For example, my quilty cabin socks, I just haven't made any more progress on them since the last episode, so I'm not going to show them. Next up is the Take Turns tank by Lily Kate Makes. And I've made quite a good amount of progress on this. Quite a good progress on this. This is made in 100% cotton. I've actually got the ball band here. This is from Tante Grøn in Copenhagen. It's the half blick or how blick, not sure. It's 100% cotton and it's 100 grams for 275 meter, which to me makes this a sport weight yarn. And this is color 95, which it is a true black. So this is what the ball band looks like, and this is what the Take Turns tank looks like. It's a black tank. I know it's not very me, is it? I mean, it was me for maybe like 15 years where I was just wearing black most of the time, but I haven't been wearing a lot of black. But I did buy this last year when I was in Copenhagen and during my yarn shop tour as well. I can link my Copenhagen yarn shop tour vlog in the description box if you're interested. And I bought 2 balls of this yarn in the Tante Grøn shop actually, because I thought it'll just be a nice black tank, and I had a different pattern in mind at the time. But now that we're doing the LKM Summer Cal over on Slack, and always also in our private chat, talking about which Lily pattern we can do next, because yeah, she just makes really good patterns. So since having knit her, what's that called again, the last t-shirt I did, I really wanted to make another one of her patterns, and so I decided to cast this one on to get the yarn out of stash. And frankly, it's not easy to find a sport weight summer yarn around where I'm living. So yeah, wanted to use this, and I think it's gonna be a nice basic, even though I'm not trying to use or wear a ton of black anymore. I thought it might be a nice option. So yeah, I didn't have enough meterage for the size that I wanted to make, which is size 3, which is a bit more negative ease than the pattern states. But with Lily's pattern, I'm right between size 3 and 4, and with something that is going to fit like 0 to a negative ease range, I wanted to choose the smaller size. And I had done that with the Feels Right tee. It's what I did recently as well, and it fits super well. So yeah, that's what I did. But I had the meterage, I think that would have been enough for a size 2, which is why I knitted the body first, like cast on for the back side, and then did short rows, did the back side, picked up stitches for the front, for both fronts, connected the front, and then yeah, I just knitted, then closed it up in the round and knitted as far as I could get, which is about this far, as you can see. And then I used my second ball to just add all the borders, like the edging, before moving on and continuing now with this much yarn left, which I think is plenty, for the rest of the body. Usually designers put in a bit of extra meterage for like swatching and all of that in the pattern. I didn't swatch for this since the back panel is basically a huge swatch in and of itself. And yeah, I just started the project and checked my gauge, and it's fine. Also tried this on and it fits wonderfully. So that's not a problem. And yeah, but now I can just continue the rest of the body. Yeah, I mean, if you've been watching here, you know that I don't mind a slightly more cropped style as well, since I usually wear a lot of high waist trousers or pants. So yeah, I'm just gonna put in my needle again. I just did all the edgings this morning, so I need to add it in again. I can just mindlessly knit on this in the round and put a few body decreases in every couple of rows, which isn't a problem. This is also great for knitting at work whenever I've got like a short, like 5-minute break, or during my lunch break. I can always just pick it up, even if I'm like thinking about other stuff, or if we're kind of talking about upcoming steps at work. Like I can always do stockinette in the round, which is nice. I think that's it for all of that, but I really wanted to talk about my modifications, because I really wanted some just rolled edges, kind of like stockinette rolled edges, like the petite knit cloud top pattern has. Also, my friend Kelly had recently tested the toaster tank for Rebecca Clow and made like 1,000 versions. And one of those versions had a rolled neck as well, or rolled edges. And both of these patterns inspired me to do the same on the Take Turns tank. So they are just knitted stockinette, and then they roll in on themselves. I kind of did it trial and error, so I started here, which I think I could have also done with like one less row, but I didn't want it to not roll enough. So I think it's fine. I'm going to show you next week how it fits when it's hopefully finished, but I think it will. And then I did the sides. I still did this detail that Lily puts in the pattern to, I think, have the armhole less gapey, like for it to sit better. I think she called it a mitered edge when we were talking about it. So I still did that, but I only did 5 rounds before binding off loosely on all of the edges. And I just did knit stitches. So that's basically it. I didn't do any of the ribbings, and I'm super happy with it. Like I can see myself wearing this going like on a walk outside, or even hiking, because it is 100% cotton. That would be nice. Or I could also see myself dressing this up a bit and having it more of like a sexy, like going out, not that I'm going out a ton, but I don't know, like a nice going out for dinner thing. Maybe putting like a blazer over it. Not that I own a ton of blazers, but I don't know why I thought it was quite cute. It's not a lot of knitting either. I think I started this on the 11th of July and today's the 15th. So I think this will be like a 1 week project, which actually motivates me quite a bit to get those last summer knits out of my system before moving on to my beloved autumn knitting. But yeah, I think it'll be nice to also layer, to just have on underneath if you're having like putting on a blazer, a cardigan, something like that. And it feels super nice. Like also in the shop when I was touching the samples in Copenhagen, it already felt really nice. And yeah, I'm happy to be knitting with yarn that I acquired on my travels. And yeah, so those were all my whips, my works in progress. I am going to move on to the fiber collab now, and I'm going to show you the colorway. I have talked about this so much, like how it all came together, how Trisha asked me to be part of this podcaster collection. Please go over to Instagram and follow her at yarnjam, just to see all the other colorways being released, and then just to find more information. I think that's the best spot to go to for that. And yeah, let me show you the colorway. I am in love. Yeah, I asked you in the last episode what you thought the colors would be, and obviously a lot of you thought it would be relatively neutral, which I mean, I don't blame you. I like my neutrals, but I think she captured what kind of even I look like in a way, like with my coloring. I think there's blonde in there, which like I don't even know how you would dye up a blonde, like a dark blonde colorway. But there's also two of my favorite ever colors in there. And yeah, let me just show you. I'm going to show you 2 skeins, and then because I've got 6 skeins, but here it is. So this is the Marlene Knits colorway. This is on the Shaniko base, which is a merino rambouillet base. Oh my god, guys. I mean, this is highly inspired by my cumulus blouse in the dark green like colorway. And then my obsession with the like tealy greens recently. At least that's what Trisha told me. Like she shared with me a bit of what she had in mind for my colorway to be. And then from those ideas, she dyed a few samples and she sent those over to me, or we did a FaceTime at first. And then we talked a bit about it, and we talked about maybe a few modifications and what I loved most about them. And then she sent over actually a few options, and then we went with one of them, and then this is how the colorway kind of developed. So obviously it is her creative, like a product of her creativity, but then also it was kind of collaborative, a collaborative process to come up with the colorway. And it's a lot of my choices are in this colorway as well, which I think is so special, because that will really kind of assure the person buying it from her, if it's like in store or with the pre-order that's coming up next after the in-store update on the 6th of September, or any of the shows that she's going to go to this fall, you'll know that it's like not just inspired by, but also created with the podcaster that is that the braid is called after. So I know a few of my podcaster kind of colleagues, but also friends and podcasts. I watch all of the podcasters content that are in this collection. I think it's amazing that we kind of all like can know each other too. I know a few have shared that they're in this collection as well. So I'll just name two of them because I know they've publicly spoken about this to like at the date that I'm filming. The other two I'll mention maybe in the next episode because yeah, I just want to give them time to share about this first. But yeah, Meghan from A Nutty Mess and Ariel from Airy Knits, both two podcasts that I like to watch. I met them both at Flock Fiber Festival just very briefly. I don't think Meghan and I really got the chance to talk or really know of each other. At that point, Ariel already had the podcast. I don't think Meghan had. So yeah, I knew of Ariel. I watched her podcast already and we chatted, and it's nice to kind of be connected with them again through this, especially because I can't go to Flock this year. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to go to Flock again, but yeah, obviously it's super special. I am also the only European podcaster in this collection, and I'm so thankful to Trisha for this. As you may see, there is a QR code on this, which will take the person getting the braid. I mean, imagine you're just loving the braid. Like a person gets this from one of the shows she's going to be at, and then they see this and they're like, who's this girl? Like, who's Marlene? And then they can check out the podcast and possibly even like it. And the other way around, obviously that is super nice. And then Trisha also obviously can use kind of our experience knitting it up or spinning it up to knit it to share with her customers as well. So I think it's an all-round win-win situation. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I could not be more in love with this colorway. Like seriously, this almost made me tear up when I saw it for the first time, and it is so special. And yeah, I can't wait to spin my first sweater with it because I've got 6 braids and this is going to be my first sweater spin, which is super special. So during the same time that we were talking about this and I decided that I really wanted to do a sweater spin, Knitting for Olive had kind of hinted at or sneak peeked their new design, which now we know that is going to be called the Astrid sweater. And I really fell in love with the idea of a super simple basic sweater. I think that's what most people tend to go for with their first sweater spin. Maybe just a small detail, maybe some texture is what is kind of, how would you say that, like recommended for hand spun too. And when I shared this with my Tour de Fleece group, some of them were like instantly, it evoked an instant, oh my god, I want to knit that too, which I love. Is like yeah, it just happens quite a few times with, I feel like we all have similar and then different tastes with, like, sometimes we have different tastes in colors, but we all kind of like similar designs, I feel like sometimes, which is also why I'm doing a doppio knit along, like a mini knit along with Emily, which now Maya is also joining. So that is just one of my favorite things about the online and offline knitting community, is kind of doing micro or mini or just small knit alongs with friends that, yeah, just make you feel like you can talk about the pattern more, you're more engaged in the process, you can talk about problems or mistakes or different things you want to modify. And so I think that might mean that some of them might also choose to knit this pattern. At least it evoked some some people to also, I think some of them also want to knit this pattern, but I'm not sure if they're going to do it for the handspun as well. But yeah, I don't know if I got that point across in the most direct way. But yeah, let's move on to spinning and Tour de Fleece, because we're now like possibly or already in it. I wanted to show some of my trial skeins that I did, some of my trying to learn how to long draw skeins. So those are 2 of them. And then I got one little trial bobbin off of my wheel as well, because I wanted to clear my bobbins for my sweater spin. And this is a Jacobs. And this was from a bat that I got at Barcelona Knits. And now that I'm looking at it, like, I love the way it looks, but I did not love the way that it spun up. It had so many shortcuts in it that I actually, and I'm a bit ashamed to say this, but I threw this fleece away. I spun up one bobbin and I disliked the process so much that I put the paper bag I had the fleece in to the side. I actually put it in the basement. And when I came down to the basement one day, I was in like cleaning up mode, and I was like, oh my god, maybe this is gonna like attract bugs, or like, I'm not sure, like I thought it might, attract bugs, which was probably what I was afraid of happening. And so I threw this away. And now that I have spun it up, I'm regretting that a bit. Anna, also from Brook Willow, she told me that instead of throwing it away, I could have also maybe composted it, which I also kind of knew, but just if you have some wool, like natural wool or fleece left over, you can put it in your compost, just as like eggshells or whatever you would put in there. Or you can also use it as like biodegradable, like it's good for plants. You can put it on your plants. It's like, it helps them grow. I forgot the word for that, but yeah, long story short, which is more like long story long, it looks beautiful, but it was a pain to spin up. And yeah, it's still thick and thin, and it had so many shortcuts and vegetable matter still in it. I really did not enjoy spinning this, but now I have a tiny mini skein, which I love. And then these two were two of my first like long draw experience on my wheel, which is nice. Now my wheel's all empty, except for I've started sampling for my sweater spin, but with someone else's colorway, which I also got one braid of one of the girls' colorways, and I don't want to show it yet because she hasn't talked about it publicly, so I'm not going to show you that. So yeah, that's possibly it. I have accomplished a few of my goals for Tour de Fleece, have finished my traveler spin, have tried some long draw, and now I'm sampling, which is moving us over into sewing and acquisitions. I have ordered a Blackbird fiber order from the BFF sale they had recently, and I've already cut out one pattern for it, and I have also shared about this on my Instagram, so you might have seen about like me sharing about this, but I still wanted to share on here. So let me show you the first fabric that I got. Maybe I can show you like this. Oh my god, this is so many small parts. It's going to be a blouse. So this is a block printed marigold, like orange color, and I have already cut out for the Kiddo and Me meta top. So yeah, this is it. This is all the top. It's a tie top. So yeah, that's that. And then two more fabrics from the BFF sale, which I love. This is a gingham linen that is called Driftwood, and then this is Nut Shell. Yeah. So this is bound to be a Pomona pant and possibly another top to go with it, to do like a coordinating set, which Casey has been doing so much, and I love all her sets. And then, because I've got 3 meters, I think that'd be plenty for some pants and like a small top. And then I got this linen to make a collage gather dress by Matchy Matchy Sewing Club, and the Pomona pant I think is by Anna Allen. So this was all of my Blackbird fabric. And then I also got, during my Berlin trip, I think I had shown you this. I got the espresso color, just like natural linen fabric. And I did also cut this out to become a Hilda trouser. I think I used the trouser pattern, but I'm doing a shorts by Slow Morning Studio. So this is that, and I can't wait to get those sewn up and show you hopefully next or the following episode, which whenever that is finished. So yeah, I wanted to talk a bit about pricing, since I know that Blackbird Fabrics is not super accessible to people in Germany or like the EU. I wanted to be super transparent about this, because like I don't always talk about how much things cost, because I don't always want to be like talking about money. I don't like talking about money, but with this I just wanted to kind of make it super transparent for like as an example how I'm thinking about things like that sometimes, and yeah, share that with you because it might be of interest. So I paid about 170 euros for all of this fabric. So that is 1.5 meters of block printed cotton from India, and then 3 meters and 2 meters, I think that was just linen, gingham linen, and then just one color linen. I think they're from China, but through Blackbird Fibers, and they're also soft linen. And then 1 meter I think I got from that Berlin like fabric market, and that was 10 euros, and the whole Blackbird fiber order was 160. So I think I just wanted to share that, because obviously customs and shipping to Germany from Canada is quite expensive. But then again, I was thinking I'm making 4 garments out of this. I mean, this is also hoping that they'll turn out nice. But yeah, I'm planning 4 garments, 1 long pant, 1 shorts, 1 dress, and 1 top. And I think for that to be 170, just comparing it for like possibly maybe even getting the same style of garments from a shop that, for example, I have ordered from and even worked with, Not Perfect Linen, and which I love, but I would never be able to get more than 2 pieces, like some trousers and a top for that amount of money. So I'm getting double the amount, kind of, is what I'm saying in my head. So yeah, it is expensive, but to me, it is worth it. And yeah, I got it in the BFF sale to kind of make up for the higher amounts of customs and shipping. So I didn't really save on the fabric in and of itself, but I saved on these other expenses, so to speak. So yeah, I hope that was kind of nice to get this perspective sometimes. I don't often or really buy any clothes, like ready-made clothes anymore, really, like other than shoes, which I don't know how to make shoes. Maybe like bikinis, because I'm not there yet with my sewing journey. I mean, underpants, like sports socks, not the wool ones I can make myself, but like basic t-shirts. Those are things I'm still sometimes buying, but I'm not buying a ton of garments or like ready new clothing items anymore at all. So to me, it was worth it, like splurging on some really nice fabric. And yeah, I'm gonna sew. That's why I'm also having a sewing day with my friend. She has a serger. I don't have one. She has so much knowledge, so she'll always possibly be able to kind of guide me or help me with some questions I might have with my sewing, so that I am going to be really happy with the finished objects, and that is going to be, yeah, worth the investment, I guess. Let me get to the books that I wanted to chat to you all about, and then I'm going to show you my wollfestival Kassel acquisitions. I've only got a bit of fiber at the festival, so yeah, that should be fine. Shouldn't take too long, and then I'm going to add the vlog footage in the end. So the most recent two books that I have finished reading are Funny Story by Emily Henry. If you may remember, I had asked for this book for my birthday, and it took a bit longer to arrive here. Yeah, not gonna go into more details about that anymore. But yeah, whenever it arrived, I didn't immediately realize, but when I tried to start reading it, I realized it was in German. And I don't know why, because German is my mother tongue, and I don't mind speaking or reading German, obviously. I just sometimes prefer reading in English. And with romantic comedies, I just can't read them in German. I get like, it cringes me out. I don't know why, but maybe also because I started reading Emily Henry books in English, and the whole genre to me is, I don't know, it just exists as an English spoken genre in my head. So I did resell that book on eBay. I'm like, who wants this? And someone actually picked it up, or I sent it to them. And I picked up the audio version on Audible. And I kind of read that within, I don't know, like 3-4 days. And it was great. I just like her books. I don't know what to say. Like, I just liked it. It was great. That wasn't a whole lot of information about this. But yeah, the other book that I wanted to really recommend, because I now have finished it, is Bread Song. This is by the Orange Bakery, by Al Tate and Kitty from the Orange Bakery. They have written this book together, and I have finished the story section of the book. So the first part is kind of like a how it all began story, and then the second part is a baking recipe book, which obviously I'm still using and will continue to use. The sourdough bread recipe has actually really helped me up my game with my sourdough recently. And yeah, I just wanted to recommend this so much, because it really has moved me so much. Like, I don't want to get into too much details. I've recently, in one of my latest episodes, have mentioned what it's about, like mental health wise, and then also what baking can add to a person's life. And yeah, that just really, really moved me. And I just wanted to highlight it again, and really recommend it to anyone. I cannot be bothered to get up and pick it up. I just forgot to bring it here. I'm surrounded by stuff, so I will have put in a picture of it. But yeah, I highly recommend it. If you're into baking as well as I am, really highly recommend you pick it up as well. So lastly, I wanted to show you the braids that I got at the wollfestival Kassel. I also got a hand-woven cushion cover, and then a starter mini die set. So let's start with the fiber, because we've been on that topic for so long. I got some Polworth. I really wanted to spin with Polworth, and I got these 3 skeins from Friendly Sheep. Friendly Sheep, I actually got my first braid for my spinning wheel last year from them, from the booth at the Westerwälder Wollfest, which is also close to me. And Katja was really nice. We talked again for quite a bit of time, and she was super lovely. And yeah, she actually told me a bit about the braid that I had first worked with. I didn't realize at the time that it was a John Arbon, I think Yarnadelic skein. So yeah, she told me a bit more about it. So I got these 3 skeins. I'm going to show you one after the other, because they have a bit of different colors in them. And I'm thinking of doing a 3-ply with them, combining all the colors and using it possibly in a shawl in the future. So this is skein number 1. And this is skein number 2. And this is skein number 3. So yeah, these ones are all combed top Polworth fiber. And then I got a bat of Polworth, which I had just finished spinning up one of her undyed bats that I got from her shop, from her booth at the festival I was just talking about. And so I got another one of those, which isn't very much my color scheme, but it was just so beautiful that I couldn't pass it by. Like, the evening I came home, I was at the Woll Festival with my mum, and I was sitting on my couch. The evening sun kept pouring into our living room, and the sky had just the exact kind of colors in it. Yeah, I don't know, that kind of made me feel a lot of things about this braid. So yeah, it'll be a nice, relatively quick project for in between for some day. I'm just gonna put it in my stash for now. I'm actually also planning on putting all my fiber in my stash on Ravelry. I haven't done that so far, like all of it, since I really like to have all my yarn in stash on Ravelry. I thought I might also put in my fiber. But yeah, next up I got this beautiful cushion from a booth where a woman, I think from the south of Germany, was selling her hand woven or loom woven items. I don't know much about weaving, so excuse me if I'm saying things that aren't completely true, but I think she told me that she used up some I'm not sure if it was hand dyed, but like leftover colorful yarn. She also did some with some hand spun fiber. She spun the most incredible fiber, which if you're not into spinning could be a great way of getting some hand spun. And yeah, I'm going to link her shop in the description box. She unfortunately doesn't have an online shop, but she told me that she'll be at other like creative markets, more so in the south of Germany too. But yeah, I thought that was just beautiful. We recently got a new couch because our old one was more like a placeholder after our first couch in this flat broke, unfortunately. And yeah, the one that we had in between was just a cheap placeholder and very small. And now we got a big couch again, which I'm so happy about. And I thought it might go well because it's a very like neutral colored couch, and I've already got my hand knitted like colorful blankets in mind that I'm currently knitting on too, like over the last year. And then my Stella quilt cushion, and this one it's just giving it a bit more color with like still being me. Like without being overwhelmingly neon. Though there's a bit of pink in here, which I would have never thought I would ever add something pink to my flat voluntarily. But I think it goes. It just works with this. And yeah, this is just so beautiful. And the last thing I got at the festival was a dyeing kit, a hand dyeing starter kit from Webtante. Get it out, it's a bit crinkly. So I got a few mini skeins. As you may recall, I did a hand dyeing workshop at the Woolly Good Gathering in Edinburgh, and I kind of wanted to try out a bit more at home with maybe some colors that were very much me. I had watched Jo's video about, her channel's called Handmade by Jo, I think, here on YouTube. I'm gonna link her channel, and she did a video about hand dyeing at home and all the things she got for it. And I think I'm just gonna follow her shopping list, and then yeah, I'm gonna try a bit more dyeing. I got the color Ivy, the color Mustard, then Brick, and Maple Sugar. I mean, just from the way these colors are described, kind of, I think you can tell that this is going to be a Marlene knit color, Marlene knits colorway as well. So I think I can always use, you know, the 75 merino, 25 nylon, 425 meter per 100 gram minis for like my sweet shop blanket and all my like the scrappy blankets that I do. So I thought this might be a cool thing to do, just a nice thing to try out something new in between all the spinning and knitting and embroidery and sewing, you know, just another hobby. I was joking with the people at the booth that I couldn't afford time-wise and money-wise another hobby, but yeah, they all agreed that I should take the time, and I agree with them. So yeah, they were super nice. I think the owner, her name's Bernadette, and we also talked for a bit. She was super lovely. They are actually located not too far from where I live, so, and they're planning some workshops to learn how to dye your own yarn, so I might just take part in one of them in the future. I think I'll have to yeah, we said that we'll just stay in contact and chat a bit more about that. And yeah, tell me if you'd be interested in like going along on another learning to dye workshop kind of vlog. I think that'd be fun. But yeah, this is all. I think I don't have any more up my sleeve for today. Today is Monday. Today's rest day at the Tour de France, which is unfortunate because today I'm not working at the shop, so I would have time to watch it. But yeah, life's not fair. I am gonna drink 5 liters of water now because my throat is still itching, which I hate. Like, I was able to stay healthy for most of the time Hannes has been sick already, and now I feel like this is not fair. But yeah, I'm gonna leave you here. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to this channel, which, yeah, that would be so nice. And yeah, there are links to everywhere where you can find me on the internet and how you can support the channel if you want to. You can support the channel by doing all the things I just mentioned, or by supporting it on Ko-Fi, by buying me a cup of coffee, or through my Ravelry wish list, just supporting my creative journey through giving me kind of access to knitting patterns that I really want to knit in the future. So if you want to see a bit about how wollfestival Kassel was this year, you can just watch the next few minutes of my vlog footage, and I'm going to see you again with the sweater spinning series I mentioned. If I didn't mention that, yeah, I'm doing that. Sorry, it was in my notes, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it. Whatever, I'm planning on doing another podcast episode in 2 weeks' time. And until then, I hope you're getting loads of making time and you're making stuff that makes you happy and that you're taking care of yourselves and those around you. And I wish you all happy knitting. Bye.